where my colleague Archith Seshadri is near the Washington DC suburb of Virginia. Archith, give us a sense of the mood where you are.
Yeah, Ramesh, that's right. In fact, we are at the Ritz Carlton Hotel in Tyson's Corner. It's about 45 minutes away from Washington, D.C. And as you can see behind me, the preparation is getting underway. In about an hour to hour and a half, that is when Prime Minister Modi will make an appearance here. There is a huge crowd of about 500 to 600 people already lined up in the lobby. People are waiting. People are hopeful. People are anxious to get a glimpse of the Prime Minister here in Washington, D.C. As you can see there are flags of both the Indian as well as the American flags hoisted up. There's a host of Indian food out here, lots of good food and lots of good times, people mingling, people networking and people catching up, really hoping for a fruitful conversation on Monday when Donald Trump for the first time will meet Modi face to face. So that is sort of the momentum here. Lots of people, about 500 to 600 people, as we mentioned. In fact, I also spoke to Riva Das, who is the Consul General of India, and she says, they are opening more and more branches here to make sure the visa process is much easier. They have offices in Atlanta, New York, D.C., Chicago, opening up a new one in Seattle. So certainly that talks about the relationship between India and the United States. We spoke to some people outside earlier on who were waiting in line, and those lines were packed. So many people trying to get in, talking about the H-1B visa issue, hoping that the conversation will sort of give a sense of a better understanding when it comes to trade deals and defense partnerships between India and the United States. So a mood of hope, a mood of anticipation. That's the mood like right here in Washington, D.C. at the Ritz Carlton, about 90 minutes to 2 hours away before Modi makes an appearance. It'll all wrap up within a few hours. Then he heads back to the Intercontinental Hotel. And then, of course, Monday he has a host of meetings with the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, meeting Donald Trump in the White House for about half an hour, and then the cocktail reception, the working dinner. So a tight agenda, but a lot to accomplish in this two-day unofficial visit here in the nation's capital.
Right, Archith, we are barely 1 hour away from the beginning, the start of that event, a much anticipated event, if I can put it that way. But Archith, I'm sure you had a chance to speak with people there where you are. Are they disappointed that there was no Madison Square Garden-like event this time?
Yeah, I think that's certainly quite a contrast, quite a difference in the previous times Modi has visited India in the past when he was here to meet President Obama, the then president. It was a huge fanfare. You would see celebrations and festivals and parades. But just to clarify and point out, this specific event is because Trump invited Modi. They've had quite a bit of partnerships and phone calls in the past, a few phone calls earlier this year. So within 6 months of Trump taking office, he has invited Narendra Modi to the White House, which will make him the first international leader to have a working dinner at the White House. So because it is an unofficial visit, you don't see that fanfare and you don't see those larger-than-life celebrations here. So perhaps this is more of a strategic partnership, a dialogue to start conversations between India and the United States. There are key issues to address when it comes to Afghanistan and the Taliban, fighting terrorism with ISIS, and of course China. The U.S. certainly looking to foster relationships and perhaps how they will soften their stance, if they will, when it comes to dealing with the South China Sea issue, as well as North Korea sanctions. So India is a very important partnership for the United States, and perhaps one can extrapolate that is why Modi personally invited him. In fact, he tweeted out not too long ago this weekend saying, look forward to hosting a true friend at the White House. So certainly that can mean there is a cordial relationship between both leaders, and they are very similar. They both have more than 30 million fans on Twitter, both active on social media, strong personalities, strong leaders. We'll have to see the handshake. Trump's handshakes are famous, and Modi's creative gifts. What will he give Trump? And how will the handshake be between Trump and Modi? Interesting things to watch with the body language and chemistry. And the big question is, what will they accomplish and who will dominate the conversation? So hopefully within the next 24 hours, we will get those answers. But right now here at Tyson's Corner, the mood with the Indian American community is one of hope and excitement as they get ready to see Prime Minister Modi for the first time, for many of them, to talk about many issues that impact Indian Americans here. The diaspora, about 500 to 600 people lining up, getting seated at this auditorium and enjoying their snacks. There are a lot of good snacks out there, samosas, vadas, and paneer tikka. We got a chance to try a little bit of that, but of course we have to sort of be patient and wait for the man himself before he comes here. So we're also equally excited to cover this event.
And Archith, very quickly, before we allow you to savor the rich fare there at the venue, very quickly, in 2014, Prime Minister Modi was barely a few months into office, and Obama was the more experienced of the two. This time round, we see Prime Minister Modi fairly, 3 years into his prime ministership, whereas President Trump is new to his job. What should one make of the chemistry between the two going forward?
Ramesh, I think that's a very interesting point you bring up about the experience level when it comes to international relations and foreign policy. I mean, just this year alone, Prime Minister Modi has visited and made connection with so many world leaders within half of 2017. He's met with Kazakhstan leaders, Sri Lanka, Germany, even meeting the new Prime Minister of France, Emmanuel Macron. So he has done a lot already on the international front. In fact, this three-nation tour, after he stopped in the U.S., he's going to the Netherlands. He'll be going to meet Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel. So when it comes to international experience, Modi has had the past few years to build up and solidify those relationships. On the other hand, Donald Trump has been overwhelmed with domestic issues, including healthcare, repealing Obamacare, dealing with his politicians at the White House, and a sort of a very bizarre presidency, dealing with the controversies from last year's elections when it comes to Russia's allegations. So he has met with Xi Jinping early this year. He has made that visit to Saudi Arabia. But when it comes to foreign policy, Modi certainly dominates that conversation. He's had a vast of experiences, not just this year, but since he was in office since 2014. So perhaps this could be a learning curve for Trump. Maybe he could pick up a few pointers on the relationship between Asia and the United States. In fact, Trump does a lot of business in India as well. So perhaps this also will expand and further nurture those relationships and invite, that could happen once they meet up in the White House. Again, their one-on-one time, 20 minutes. 20 minutes between Modi and Trump on Monday. So that's not a whole lot of time. So we can't imagine them talking about a laundry list of things. I mean, there's technology, trade, terrorism, jobs, H-1B. In 20 minutes, all of that is hard to accomplish. Maybe they will circumvent some of those issues, but this certainly is a step in the right direction, perhaps opening the doors for more stronger relationship and talks between India and the United States.
All right. On that note, Archith, thank you so much. I don't want to come between you and your cup of coffee maybe and the rich fare on offer there.